Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a more philosophical video for you, so you can probably largely ignore the video, it's just talking hands. But what I want to talk to you today about is the idea of having enough, of stopping, of getting off the treadmill of constant purchasing and being happy with what you've got. So, at some level, I have often joked on the channel and elsewhere that the thing that anybody in a gear-related hobby, whether it's knives, pens, watches, safety razors, boats, cars, hi-fi, whatever, the thing that we all secretly want is to stop. To find that one item where it's just like, no, this is as good as it gets. I don't need to look anymore. I don't need to buy another set of speakers ever because I'm happy now. I don't need a new amplifier. I don't need a new razor. I don't need a new knife. I don't need a new watch. I think for a lot of people, there's a lot of feeling like they're going to find that one item that allows them to stop. But there's this dissatisfaction because we end up chasing the next thing. We chase the next fix. We're constantly looking for better, and I think it's something maybe to consider. And it's important to consider that sometimes you actually can hit a stopping point. You can get to a point where you feel like, you know what, this is enough. Whether it's one particular item or your collection as it stands, this is enough. I'm good. I have enough. I'm happy with what I have here. And that when you get to that point, that's actually a really good thing and not necessarily a bad one. Now, first off, though, I have an irony disclaimer, which is that why the heck am I making this video, right? I'm a gear reviewer. I am an active participant in making people unhappy with what they've got. I mean, there's an ugliness to that I freely admit and feel a little bit weird about. But this video is strictly counterproductive for me, so please, I don't say it often, but like, subscribe, hit the damn bell, because God knows I'm going to need all the help I can get if I'm telling people to stop. But nevertheless, I figured it's kind of my public duty to do this, especially this time of year when we're thinking about how we want to move forward and we're thinking about sort of what we're grateful for, what we've got, etc. So that's kind of my reason for doing this here today. But nevertheless, I feel like this is something that does happen, and it happens with some regularity. You see this, for instance, on forums. You see it, for instance, on Instagram. You see, every so often you'll get somebody, and there are really common feelings that people will express about whatever product category they're interested in. Things like, you know what, I don't use this tool often enough to need anything better, so I'm good. What I have is good enough. Or maybe there are improvements out there to this particular tool, but you know what? I don't care if there were better ones. This is enough. It's not worth the money to do any better, which is kind of an acknowledgement of that curve of diminishing returns, that you can spend more and more money and get more and more improvement, but it tends to fall off as you pay more and more. People will say things like, you know what, that industry is so frustrating that I don't want to spend any more time there. Or they'll just have more amorphous feelings like, you know what, I got this knife and it's good enough. I don't know why I would buy anything else. I don't find myself carrying any other thing. Or, frankly, the true thing that we hope to hear, we hope to hear ourselves say is, you know what, I have reached the peak. This is the best. There is nothing else out there for me. I am good. I am done. And you'll see this happen sometimes, and it's absolutely a beautiful thing. As a gear reviewer, this is not something that is allowed of me. In many, oh good God, I could go, without going too esoteric on it, I have to be the guy who, even if I find something that's absolute perfection, even if I can step over the edge into freaking gear Nirvana, no, I'm the idiot who rushes back out and tries to find other people and help them find their way there. I mean, at some level, my job is to repeatedly toss myself off the peak of perfection and to try and explore and map and find that other mountains are actually lower, or maybe in some cases they're just as high or higher. But this isn't something that I'm allowed to do, but it still does happen, even for me. And particularly in areas that I don't review in generally, because reviewing it makes you a little bit flighty, if you will. But for instance, in hi-fi or high sound quality, I definitely got to a point where I stopped, where it was enough. When I had my full hi-fi setup, and I've now actually gotten rid of that in favor of a much more simple sound bar sort of situation, Sonos Playbase. The sound quality ain't as good, but you know what? The complexity is way better. But anyways, I found myself at a point where I realized that if I made any more improvements to my speaker system, I wasn't going to freaking hear them anyways. Like, I didn't have the golden ears required to feel anything better, and so every time I'd go to a listening event, I'd be like, I guess that's maybe a little better, but I can't hear the freaking difference. And so that was a really nice way to stop. It was just like, I don't need to buy anything new, because what I got's as good as I can hear. And frankly, the hi-fi industry is really messed up, so I was kind of happy to beg out of there. The thing that kind of inspired this video most recently is this guy. This is the Feather ASD2 stainless razor. I like this razor a lot. I like it so much that I bought it twice, because I bought it once and then I sold it figuring, oh, there are other razors that are almost as good. I'll just use those. And then I realized, wait, no, this is better. And so I freaking bought it again because I'm an idiot, but that's the way it goes. But now I've realized this is the razor I need. I'm done. I can stop. I don't need to think about that whole category anymore. I'm okay. I might still do some others for review, but for the most part, I'm good to go. For knives, actually, this happened to me in grad school. I got this leash Bowie. I got the Spyderco freaking Sleesh Bowie, and it was just like, wow, this is really good. This is all the knife I need. I'm all set. I don't need anything else, so I can stop for a little while, and I did. This knife got me through like 4 years of grad school. Well, I don't know about the timing exactly, but still, this knife got me through a whole bunch of grad school, and that was a beautiful freaking thing. And so I appreciated that very, very much. This was a really good knife in that it allowed me to just not think about knives for a little while when I was busy thinking about a dissertation and things like that. So that was nice. And even in watches, I've kind of found myself at a point on the curve of diminishing returns where I can't see myself going much higher than, for instance, this Omega Seamaster Professional. You know, at some level, do I look at the $30,000 watches and be like, that's really cool. Yeah, they're really cool, but I don't need any better. This is as good as I need for my everyday life. And in fact, it's way better than I need. We should be real about that. And, you know, one of the best expressions I've ever heard of this was actually a guy named Thomas O'More. He came on Gear Geeks Live with me and Tony Scullambrini. It's geargeekslive.com. And we talked about, because he is a well-known collector of Spyderco sprint runs, particularly the PM2. And I kind of asked him, because I didn't get the sprint run thing. I still, to an extent, don't, and I still find parts of it really frustrating. But I asked him, you know, why do this? Why? And what he expressed to me, roughly, made a lot of sense. It was like something along the lines of, Nick, I really believe that the Spyderco PM2 is one of the best knives out there. In fact, for me, it's kind of the peak. So if I want to stay collecting, why not just collect the thing that's the very best in different variations? And at some level, although it doesn't help you not spend money, and in fact, in his case, it's probably cost him a bunch of money, I really see the logic in it. It's like, if he truly believes, and I don't necessarily agree with him, but I can see it's an amazing knife, but if he truly believes that this is the very best pocket knife out there, then picking up other variants of it actually makes a lot of sense if he wants to stay a collector, if he wants to stay on the chase, so to speak. That way he gets something that he knows he loves, but a little different. So, I think that's another way to stop, even though it didn't really stop him so much. But this is a thing that definitely happens, and every so often you'll even see people go so far as, like, they've got an EDC-related Instagram account, and then they realize, guys, I keep posting the same stuff every day because I keep carrying the same stuff every day. So you know what? I'm going to transition this towards my new hobby. I'm now into photography or artisanal freaking yeast making or whatever. Yeast breeding? I don't know what you do to yeast. Either way, some crazy, brewing. That's the beering. What do you do? I beer. Anyways, so you'll see this happen every so often, and at some level it's a little sad, just like, oh, but at another level it's like, yay, you found gear Nirvana, well done. So yeah. Anyways, why does this... You would think, though, that everybody would find that state, right? If you've been in the gear hobby long enough that you would just reach gear Nirvana and you'll be done with it. But why don't people get here? Why is this not something that's happening all the damn time? Well, that's actually a real good question. One of the big issues that I personally find, and one of the big things that keeps me on the hunt, so to speak, is that the fear of a local maximum, so to speak. Here, let me grab some paper here, and I'll draw this out. This is a mathematical / often machine learning-y sort of approach. We'll move all this expensive gear to the side, just shove it over there. And try this new pen that I'm testing out, but the idea is that, for instance, if you've got yourselves a whole bunch of peaks going on here, you might find the top of this peak and feel like, you know what, this is the very best I can get. This is the absolute greatest. And it's true. If you're looking at this rough area here, it is the absolute greatest. But what you don't know if you don't travel is whether there's another one over here that's even higher. And so this could actually be the maximum, but you just found this maximum over here. And so there's this fear, for instance, that, this is as good as it gets, but maybe if I look a little broader, I'll find better. You find a local maximum, but you have this fear that there's another one that's higher up there still. With the Earth, we've maxed it up, and we've mapped it out enough that we kind of know where the top is, so to speak. It's freaking Everest. That ain't going to change. But with the gear world, especially with things changing, all the time, new things being released, it's very easy to think, well, I don't know, maybe this newest thing really is high, it really is a better peak, etc. And this is why optimization, by the way, is a really hard problem for a lot of computer algorithms, but I digress. It's this whole idea, though, of maybe there's better out there. I know I'm good right now, but maybe there's something else. And, this also gets at the idea of perfect is the enemy of good, right? If you're looking for something that's really good, this is really good. But if you're looking for the best, then you're constantly searching. You have to constantly patrol, etc. And very often as you're patrolling, you might grab this. Oh, no, that's worse. Try this. Nope, that sucks. No, that's no better. And so you try 50 things until maybe you find something a little better, or maybe you don't. And so the fear that we're at a local maximum rather than the true one, that's definitely a real thing, and that's a hard issue in optimization. There's also the feeling of, like, look at this brand new thing. I mean, this watch, for instance, didn't exist 3 years ago. I mean, the Seamaster 300 did, but it actually had some major downsides. It didn't have the quick adjust clasp, which is a big problem for me. A big problem, he says. Oh, my God. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right at the top is quick adjust clasp. But it didn't have that. It didn't have a couple of other things that were a little frustrating. And so at the time, the watch that I think would have been perfect for me when I bought the Planet Ocean wasn't a thing. So I got the Planet Ocean, then this became a thing. It was like, oh, damn. So that can be a thing. And we have to ask ourselves, hey, what's the chance that this is really going to be better than the old one? And, from my perspective, I'm getting to be pretty good as a gear reviewer at looking at something and realizing, you know what? I don't think this is going to be as good as another option. Like I can look at something and say, you know what? I don't think this is going to fit my needs as well as the TRM Atom or the Spyderco/Bowie or something else like that. I'll still give it a try because, again, I'm a gear reviewer. I'm not allowed to go into gear nirvana. I got to go back and help other jackasses. But still, and I am not, by the way, claiming to be a gear bodhisattva for those of you who are just cringing at the Eastern philosophy of this whole thing. But nevertheless, you have a, whoa there, there is an obligation as a gear reviewer to keep looking. But it's very rare that I'm completely taken off guard by something, where I try something new and it's just like, I thought this was going to be terrible, but instead it's better than everything else I've tried. And so I encourage you, as you're being tempted by that, look at this new thing, to ask yourself, what are the chances it's actually any better? And of course, there's always the fear of the new version, right? If you had this, the Seamaster 300 Pro, and then they did the new version, the question is, well, is it better? Is it really different? Is it like, oh my God, now this one's a master coaxial. Does that matter? And you got to ask yourself, does that matter? Because that's an important thing. That's the thing that companies often do to you, right? It's like, oh, well, now we've got a PM2, but it's in, M390, and it's bright green, zombie color. Is that better? That's going to be for you. The question is, like, does it actually fix a problem you have, or is it just different? And then, of course, there's the big one, of course, is, oh, well, look, I could get a really great deal on this. Thing is, like, guys, I can offer you right now a really great deal on this bit of string wrapped around an iPhone SIM card release tool. Like, seriously, I will give you a screaming freaking deal on this thing right here. It will be the very best deal you have ever heard of, but do you actually need it? No, probably not. And so the question is, you can get a great deal, but is it something that you actually, I can give you a great deal on an elephant, but you probably don't want an elephant, right? And for what it's worth, I can't give you a great deal on an elephant. I do not deal in exotic mammals. Please do not expect that. But nevertheless, there's always this feeling of constantly, this is the thing that keeps us from going over the fence. It keeps us from gear nirvana, fearing that we're really good right now, but maybe there's better elsewhere. Or the fear of, like, looking at the novelties of the world, or even the upgrades, or just even the great deals out there in the world. Those are the things that keep us hunting. Those are the things that keep us looking around rather than looking at what we've got and saying, you know what, this is good enough. And I think that's a really important question to ask yourself on a regular basis. If you're finding yourself looking at new gear, if you're finding yourself looking at new things, the question has to be, is this good enough? Is this worth your time? Is it worth the amount of time that it would take to find something better for you to replace this? Is there an actual flaw here, or am I just wanting to look for new stuff? But the thing is, I don't know. One of the things I'm predicating this whole video on the idea that actually we want to stop, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. For me, I don't know that it is. At some level, there's the desire, but I think that desire is more there's a false hope involved there. Because for, I think, many people, the joy is in spending the time chasing, right? So, and again, I'm putting words in the guy's mouth, but Tommaso More, by the way, not Thomas More, what is he, Catholic? Anyways, that guy, the Spyderco guy, has decided he loves the chase. And so he's going to work on something, look for something that he finds to be perfection, but he's going to chase it down in a very different way. So maybe for him, the joy is in the chase rather than in the possession. Because, he might have the very best pair of 3 variant ever, but he decides, I want to spend some joy in the test, or in the taste. I mean, for me, I think the joy is in the testing. At some level, experiencing a new piece of gear, trying it, putting it through its paces, there's a joy there. There's a reason I run a freaking gear review channel, and it's not just because I have a problem. I mean, I have a problem, but that's not the only reason I do this. And so for me, there is a joy in testing something brand new, in looking at, oh, look, Ferrum Forge Executive, is this... How much better or different is this than everything else that's gone on? I mean, is that new? Is that... what else is out there? For me, there's a joy there. Maybe you're a person for whom variety is the spice of life, where, it's not necessarily about the buying of the best, but instead it's just trying different things. It's having new things. And sometimes you can actually deal with that by kind of having a cycle of things. For instance, I have this guy. I have the Casio S5000 Oceanus. I have the Omega Aquaterra, and I've got a Seiko Samurai. I could cycle between those 4 on a regular basis and have all the variety, frankly, that I need. I could have a lot of really good stuff there and not need to buy anything else new. And similarly with pocket knives, I could carry a new knife every day of the month and probably... Could I? Oh, God, that's disturbing. And then cycle back to the start of the month. And, so you can find that variety of great things. And sometimes stepping down for a little while makes you remember just how good it is. Wearing a bad watch for a while makes you appreciate more wearing a good watch. So there's that joy, too. And maybe you're like me and you just like nerding out on the whole damn thing. I mean, there are people out there who are not so much knife people as steel people. And knives happen to use steel. Like, they nerd out on the steels more than anything else because for them, looking at the hardness, looking at the heat treatment, the cryo, the cutting performance is itself a good. They're like, I don't really care that much what handle it's in. I'm interested in having the very, very best, highest end steel that can outperform everything else. Well, what do you use your knife for? Boxes and envelopes. For them, it's about the nerdiness. It's about that. But it's always worth remembering that it's not necessarily about the buying. For some people, it's about the search. The hunt is more important than it is than the capture, so to speak. And for those people, it's very easy to step out of the cycle. Just stop buying for a little bit, right? And honestly, if any of this is not bringing you joy, if you get to a point where you realize you're buying something and you're feeling disappointed more than you are feeling happy, then maybe it's time to try something else. Do something else with your life. Do a new experience. I don't freaking know. Get into stamp collecting. Actually, that's a whole other world. But anyways, maybe if it's not bringing you joy, it's worth trying something else. And most of all, there is a very wonderful virtue in being happy with what you have and not searching for perfection. Because perfection isn't a thing, like freaking ever, but instead in searching for enough. In finding that piece of gear, and finding that piece of that car, that hi-fi system, that whatever, that is good enough for everything you need without completely costing your face. I guess you probably could sell your face, and that might save you some money. Either way. But it's not costing you an arm and a freaking leg. There we go. That's the idiom. But anyways, never feel ashamed about that. Never feel ashamed to say, you know what, this is good enough. Never feel ashamed. There are collectors out there who are absolutely in love with one particular thing, and like every damn day, you get a picture of the same orange Spyderco UKPK in a different location. And you know what? I respect the heck out of that. That guy has found the perfect knife for him, and it's good. And I never feel ashamed about that. Never feel reluctant to say, you know what I got is great and I'm happy. And always feel free to appreciate what you've got right now. Because as you're going through this, as you are gear geeking, as you are looking through, it's important to remember that what you have is the sum of all of the learning you've ever done, so to speak, and the function of your budget, certainly, but trying to find the very, very best local maximum is an honorable thing too, even if there may be distantly something that might be a little bit better. And think very carefully as you're doing all this about what's actually bringing you joy and what's just making you uncomfortable and keeping you running on that treadmill. So anyways, there you go. I hope this has been interesting to you. Let me know if there's something let me know in the comments, that is, If there's something that has made you stop, or you felt like, you know what, I'm good, this is enough, I'm happy, I'm a happy man, because that's a wonderful thing, and in many ways, that's one of the very best compliments you can give a piece of gear. So let me know down in the comments if you feel any of this, whether you're secretly hoping to stop, but mostly, I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I'm going to keep looking, because that's the way I have to do it, right? I mean, that's kind of the nature of my being, I suppose. But at the very least, I hope that you all find yourself something absolutely wonderful, that you reach your gear nirvana, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, no matter what's in your pocket and whether it's enough or not. Because let's be real here, it's getting you through the day. It may be enough. So anyways, have a good one, everybody. Bye now.